Hello, and welcome back. This is my series where I tell you more about the Empyrean Lords. We go very much in detail with their involvements in the world of Atreia, and also cover some rumors about them. This time we cover a very mysterious Empyrean Lord. It is the Lady of Death, Lady Triniel. Fitting to her name, she is symbolized by death, with her card showing a reaper, a scythe, and skulls. She is known for her ability to strike fatally at her enemy's weakness, and that perfectly fits her connection to the assassin class. Her relic has a very interesting shape. It is an eye in the middle, with two horns above it. The entire relic is made of something that looks like claws and bones. It is interesting that there are many conflicting rumors about her. Some say she's as cold as ice and absolutely merciless, while others say she's nurturing and loyal. But we will get an explanation for that later. People say that if Shadim Lord Siel is the Asmodean leader Azphel's right arm, then Lady Triniel is his left. Her strength matches Seraphim Lord Nezakan's, and there are also those that say her calm nature makes her even stronger than the hot-headed Lord Siel. If this is true, we simply do not know, since these are only rumors that people talk about. But she had also connections to another Empyrean Lord, Lord Nezakan. There were rumors that those two got along very well, that they even had a secret relationship. But those who saw them bitterly fight each other in the opening days of the Abyss War give little credit to such thoughts. It is known that they do not get along, though they are secretive as to the reason why. To uncover this secret very early on in Aeon, you had to do a bit of reading. In a book called Legend of Elden 3, a place called Karon's Playground is mentioned. It tells of two Empyrean lords in ancient Atreia that loved each other and met as frequently as possible while evading the suspicions of others. The two Empyrean lords being Lord Nezakan and Lady Triniel. Lord Nezakan even sent one of his men named Vaizel to Lady Triniel to protect and serve her. Vaizel was a Templar, and Templars only served Nezakan at that time. But since Lady Triniel was the love of Lord Nezakan, Vaizel was the first Templar that served another lord. His skills were not to be underestimated either, as Lady Triniel had appointed him as the Brigade General of the Red Sky Legion, one of the most legendary legions of ancient Atreia. Eventually the love produced a child, and they were overwhelmed by both joy and fear. Their child was a true blessing. He let them know true happiness. They named him Karon. Although they were unable to care for Karon directly, the two Empyrean Lords wanted to do something for him, as any parent would. Thus they built a playground for Karon, the biggest and most wonderful playground in all worlds. They chose a suitable place, far from any other creature, and cast magic spells upon it to prevent any intrusion. No other being could enter the playground, and it became all but invisible. The two Empyrean Lords, Triniel and Nezakan, placed all kinds of creatures in the playground, from tiny grasses to huge monsters. They wanted Karon to experience all aspects of the world, but because his very existence was taboo, he would never be allowed to walk freely so long as he lived. They had to hide him at all costs. At first, Karon thrived inside the huge playground. To him it seemed to be the entire world. But the Empyrean Lords were so busy looking after important affairs in Atreia that they could not visit him frequently. They felt ashamed that they couldn't be there more for their child. But the most miserable one was Karon. Left alone in the huge playground, he grew up without anyone to nurture him, without anyone to teach him, and over time he became more and more violent. As the child of two Empyrean Lords, he possessed great power, and when he realized that, he began destroying the playground his parents had built, and found it delightful to take the lives of the creatures imprisoned with him. Seeing this change in their child, the two Empyrean lords became filled with regret and anguish. They decided to beg Aeon's pardon and implore him to recognize their child, so that he could be freed and they could teach him and push him in another direction, away from the violent tendencies he had developed. Aeon's answer was a great thunder. Triniel and Nezukan rushed to Karon's playground, only to discover a horrifying sight. The playground was completely destroyed, leaving no trace of life, and Karon was not to be found anywhere. Overwhelmed by grief, Triniel screamed in distress. The heartbreaking sound resonated across the land, drawing forth a black rain of grief from the clouds. The two Empyrean lords turned their backs upon the destroyed playground and left. The pain of their grief separated them forever, and with this ends the story of the two Empyrean lords who loved and gave birth to a child. At least that is what the book says. Karon's playground is the place that today is known as the Arrakis Temple Cavern in Eltnan. If you want to learn more about this specific topic, I will link a video in the description that explains a bit more about Karon and the love of the two Empyrean lords. And when the Abyss War started, there was a fight between Nezukan and Triniel, even though we have no definitive proof other than the rumor of some Devas talking about it. Up to this point, everything is true for both versions of Aeon, classic and retail. And now we go into the retail story of Aeon, which lets us know a bit more about Lady Triniel. In the 4.0 patch of Aeon, it is revealed that the rumors about her and Lord Nezukan were true. They were lovers in ancient Atreia and even had a child. Although she did not allow their love to falter her responsibilities, she truly loved Nezukan. Here we also learned that after the thunder destroyed Karon's playground, Lady Triniel saw it as Aeon's punishment, and she grew cold and detached. But centuries after this, a being of immense power was discovered leading the Rayan tribe against Tiamat, a man named Karon. But sometime after that, Karon went missing. At this point, Lady Triniel panicked and set out to personally search for Karon under a fake identity. With the help of the player, she finally found Karon in the Infinity Shard. As Triniel tended to Karon, Nezukan appears, also under a fake identity. They both only recognize each other again after they clash, and agree on a temporary ceasefire, as the two of them take Karon away to safety.
Cease your nonsense.
I know this power.
Equally strong. Nezukan?
Triniel, what are you doing? Karon!
Can we agree to take care of the boy together?
For now. Well, let's move somewhere safer.
Many years after that, when the Devas arrive in Absaranta, Lady Triniel is leading the efforts of finding Inanna and focusing on the conflict with the Ilias. So, let's conclude everything we know about Lady Triniel. Before the Cataclysm, she fell in love with the Empyrean Lord Nezukan, the Lord of Justice. She was very caring and nurturing during this time. When the love produced a child, they were happy, even though the child was considered a taboo, as they both were Empyrean lords. As they saw that hiding their child from others had negative effects on him, they decided to tell Aeon about it and ask for his pardon. Aeon's answer was a thunder that destroyed the child's playground, and as they thought also killed their child Karon. Losing their child and receiving this punishment caused immense grief to Lady Triniel, which resulted in her and Nezakan splitting up and going different paths. Lady Triniel became cold and distant. She lived secluded from others. But despite that, she maintained her duties and trained some of the deadliest assassins in all of Atreya. Later, she found out that Karon was still alive and became the leader of the Rayan tribe. But when he vanished soon after, her motherly instincts kicked in and she personally went there to search for her son. She and Nezakan found their son Karon and teleported him to safety. We do not know what happened after this, only that Lady Triniel's next appearance was in Absaranta, where she now leads the Asmodean troops against the Ilios. While most people would assume that someone like Lady Ariel or Lady Siel, or maybe even Lady Yustiel, the Lady of Life, would be more fitting as a character that has a strong motherly instinct, Triniel is the one that truly embraces this role. She leads her legions with tough love, whilst also holding them accountable for their actions. Due to what happened to her with Karon, she has a soft spot for people that had similar situations of losing their child. I will leave you with one last info about Triniel. There is a comic that involves both Triniel and Nezakan. The comic is available for free, but it is only available in Korean. I can definitely recommend checking it out, because Aeon gets not much love in the West with art. The link to the comic will be in the description if you want to read it in Korean or translate it yourself. Or some people in our Discord also translate comics and you can maybe see it there in English. And that is all we know about the Empyrean Lord of Death, Lady Triniel. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them here in the comments or in our Discord server. In the description you can find the links to the videos of the other Empyrean Lords. Or, if you're watching this very early on, feel free to vote in our Discord server on who we should do next. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next one.